Hey, she's wearing the same thing she wore last week. Surprise, it's the same day for me. Hollywood magic. Hi, I'm Kelsey Kishimoto. I also go by Kelsey Kishi Draws. I'm an independent artist based in the Bay Area of California, and you're watching Disney Channel. Look, I even got like a pen. Ooh. Sorry. Up until this point, I've really only uploaded mostly one type of video, and that is Artist Alley and vendor vlogs. And then the week before, I shared a little tips and tricks about selling in person. But like, I'm an artist, I should be making content about my art. And so here's my first draw with me. I'm not gonna lie, I actually filmed one of these all the way back in, I wanna say like September, with my crappy vlogging camera that for some reason I thought was good quality just because it was a camera. It kind of sucked. And so I'm a little afraid that this one's gonna suck too, but I'm gonna try really hard. The drawing turned out great. Here's a piece that I drew. The actual filming process was like horrendous. Hopefully I'm a little bit better by now. I've been drawing my whole life, really, for as long as I can remember, but I didn't start taking it seriously until 2020, where like everyone else, we all had too much time on our hands, so we're all gonna either discover new hobbies or rediscover old ones. And I bought an iPad and an Apple Pencil, and here I am now. I was really just drawing for myself, but I had friends start commissioning me, and before I knew it, I had a business on my hands, so that's cool. I'm really grateful for this opportunity, and let's draw. Let me show you the tools I use to create my art. Starting off with my iPad Pro 2020. This is a 12.9 inch. I put it on top of this stand I got from IKEA. She's fine, it's cheap, it works. You can probably find a better one on Amazon, so go do that. I use the Apple Pencil Generation 2. Don't bother with Gen 1, it sucks. Here is a grippy I found on Amazon. It helps with hand cramps, and I love it. I also switched out the tip for this cute pink one, but Cody said it looks like a nipple, and now I can't unsee it. I'm gonna open up Procreate, because I'm basic, but also Procreate is cheap and great and portable. We're gonna open up an 8 by 10 inch canvas, and we're gonna get started with the sketch. I'm using the 6B Pencil Sketch default brush on Procreate. This brush is great, and like I mentioned before, I'm basic. I'm a default brush girly all the way. There's literally like 3, maybe 4, at the most 5 different brushes that I use. I like to keep it simple. Funny story, I actually filmed for this video, in addition to that failed attempt back in September, 3 times. 3 different freaking times and 3 different drawings, and I hated all of them. And I came to the conclusion that I cannot draw or sketch with a camera over my shoulder. So I decided to turn it off and just share the time lapse instead. And I came out with something that I'm actually proud of and I really like. So here's me trying to make this time lapse kind of pretty and aesthetic. Hopefully it's not boring. Please stay tuned. We're almost to real filming. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. Now this could be a cute little vibey, quiet ASMR draw with me, but I don't know how to shut up. So instead, I'm going to answer some questions that you guys submitted on Instagram. Thank you so much for asking me questions. I was afraid I wouldn't get enough, and I actually think I have enough for part 2. So let's get started. I've categorized them into different themes, starting with questions about art. The first question is, the most favorite project you've ever done. And if you look at my branding and you follow me for a while and you just see like my pages on social media, you can probably tell it's this character, my Slayer girl, who I will reveal her name later at the end of the video. But when I first designed her almost 2 years ago, I felt like I had struck gold with the design. I had never been so in love with something that I had created before, and I was just so proud of her. I don't know if you can tell, but she's inspired by characters like Inuyasha, as well as some from Demon Slayer. I really love that almost like feudal medieval era of Japan, and so she and her story are inspired by that timeline, with my own personal twist. I can't wait to share more of her story throughout this year, which is something I plan to do and to expand her universe, and I hope that you will join me along for the journey. The next question is, what is your favorite thing about being an artist / small business owner? And to me, it's the fact that not only do I get to draw, but people are willing to give me money for that. That really blows my mind because just up until recently, this was just a side thing, or it was just for fun, and I wanted to draw anyway. But now I get to draw, and I get money out of it. Like that just kind of blows my mind. Before this, I was a full-time teacher, And while that was so fulfilling and so meaningful, it was also very draining and turned me into a vegetable at the end of the day, where I just stared at a wall and I didn't really do much. So I feel like I'm really thriving now off of this, doing this from 9 to 5. Well, more like, 12 to 12, but that's just small business stuff. I will gladly do that. The next question is, what is your favorite brush in the program that you use? And I mentioned this earlier in the time lapse, but I love the 6B pencil sketch pencil in Procreate. It feels so great, and you can see I used it here. I even used it for my line art instead of like a traditional inking brush on Procreate. It just feels fantastic. But also in addition to that, I only use default brushes. I don't want to overcomplicate the process. And I remember for a while I felt really stupid, like, oh, I should be using fancy brushes or custom making my own brushes. But I'm a big fan of Sam Does Arts, and in one of his videos he talked about how brushes don't make the artist. A good artist can take any brush and make good art. And so since then, I just haven't been stressing, and I have been happily thriving off of my default brushes. While I do use the 6B pencil sketch for sketching and for inking, for these flat colors where I need more opacity, I'll use one of the airbrush options, or in this case, I think I'm using the Studio pen. If you could only draw one thing for the rest of your life, what would you draw? I would happily draw portraits for the rest of my life, specifically of women, but I mean, guys can be fun too. Of course, I love drawing eyes. What artist doesn't love to draw eyes? But specifically on the eye, my favorite part to draw is the inner corner. I like to make them nice and pointy. I noticed in a lot of anime art, the inner corner is something that is completely skipped. People don't draw inner corners, but eyes are very often almond shaped, and so I like to make them nice and pointy on the inner corners. I love drawing lips and noses. Honestly, just a face, portrait. It's just fun. Oh, and hair. Who doesn't love coming up with some wild, unrealistic hairstyle, right? Like, look at this ponytail. Ain't no one gonna get volume like this in the real world. What is your favorite kind of art to create, and what is your least favorite kind of art to create? Like I mentioned before, I could gladly draw portraits. I love drawing faces, especially women. I love drawing strong, sexy women who could kill you. It's my bread and butter. It's my brand. As for my least favorite kind of art to create, I have a hard time with animals. I don't know how to make them fit my style. I feel like I either see them really kawaii or hyper realistic, and it's kind of hard to draw them in the middle, which is where more of my kind of art falls. And since I don't know how to do it, I avoid it like a bad person, and I run away from my responsibilities, and I should probably practice that. I also kind of hate graphic design. If you see anything that's somewhat graphic design coming from me, that's because my sister made it. I suck at it. I don't know how to pick fonts. That's so confusing. Just give me a pencil and I'll draw it. What is your favorite thing to listen to while you create art? This is a funny question to me because up until recently, I would have said either Blackpink or Olivia Rodrigo. But I noticed that while I played that in the background, I was too busy singing and dancing to actually focus on my work, or I would sift through the playlist to find my favorite song. So I decided to start listening to lo-fi instead, specifically a lot of hip-hop lo-fi, and that has been a lot better for me. I'm a lot more productive now. I don't get distracted anymore. So if you're anything like me, maybe try listening to some lo-fi and you will actually get some work done. Ever feel like wandering into other styles? Honestly, no. Maybe when I first started out, I was a little curious about other things, and I think that's how it's supposed to be when you're just starting something new. You're supposed to try everything, and that's what I was doing. I was doing a lot of painting, I was doing a lot of different fan arts and fandoms, and it wasn't until I started drawing what I draw now that I felt it really click into place, and it just felt really right. I really liked it. My audience really liked it. It made me the most money, and so I'm just really happy with this direction. I know a lot of people think that this can be suffocating, only sticking to your lane, but I actually find it really liberating. I'm not too stressed about what is out there because I'm focused on what I'm doing and I'm keeping my head down. And I will, during my practice time, I will explore other things and try other things. But part of being a business successfully is knowing your brand. And I know my brand and I really like it, and my customers do too. When did you know your art was ready to be sold? Oh, you might hate this answer. It's very Mark Cuban from Shark Tank of me. But I knew my art was ready to be sold because there were people asking to buy it. When I first got my iPad, I was so excited. I was just drawing all the time. And I shared pictures and videos to my social media, my personal social media of what I was doing. And people saw that and they started responding to me, just saying, can you draw this for me? And can you draw that for me? And my very first commission ever, I got paid by my friend from college in a $20 Starbucks gift card. And I was just so happy with it. I was so amazed that someone would give me physical money for my art. And from that point on, I just had natural customers coming in from friends and family. And then they tell people, and those people ended up buying from me too. And then my platform just grew. And so I actually started out on a commission-based business. And while I do still do commissions, I mostly create art for myself now, and then I sell that. But this might not be the case for everyone. So if you are not able to immediately find a ton of customers like that, and there's not a natural demand for your art, my first tip would be, and I mentioned this in my video last week, is just to hone your craft. Customers can be pretty brutal, so make sure you have a really basic and confident understanding of your craft so that you can defend it, or you can be really proud of it and you can advertise it. If you really like what you're making and you're really excited about it, very likely there's also an audience out there in the world who wants to see it too. So just make sure you're making something that you yourself would buy, and then if you feel that way about your art, I think you're ready to sell it. And that's the end of the art category questions. Let's move on to the next category, which is business. First question, small business do's and don'ts. This could be a whole video in and of itself, so let's just do one do and one don't. First off, do target your audience. We can't please everyone. It is statistically impossible. So what you want to do is find out who does like your stuff and target them, because they're the ones who are going to be funding your craft and funding your lifestyle. So make sure they like what you're making. As for a don't let the fear of rejection keep you from doing what you really want to do. Because when you do this, when you put your heart out there in your craft, you're going to get rejected. Absolutely. And the more often you do it, the more often you're going to experience rejection. But the people who are successful at what they do aren't the ones who never experienced rejection. They're the ones who kept going, and they learned from their failures, and they learned from rejection, and they figured out what they could do better, and that's how they became successful. What is the most difficult thing about selling at events? Probably setup. In addition to just being really bad with time management, I am Filipina to my core. I am also kind of small, and so setting up big displays and carrying big things is kind of hard. So shout out to my dad and Cody. Thank you for all the help that you do. You guys are amazing. Top favorite event to vent at. I absolutely adore night markets, which can be somewhat controversial because I know not everyone finds these events to be super lucrative. We all watch Cloris Creates videos and we're like, oh my gosh, I should go sell at a night market. And then we don't make the same numbers as her because we don't have the same business. But at the same time, I did find a good amount of success, enough to keep me coming back. In addition to that, I just love the night market scene. I love food, I love parties, I love having fun. And like I mentioned before, I do find it to be pretty successful. My best event ever is still a night market, Foodieland San Jose. And I really believe that with this new direction I'm going with apparel this year, I think they're going to be some of my best events ever. So if you want to come find me at a night market, you can find me at Foodieland Sacramento, San Jose, and the 626 Bay Area events this year. Are there any tips you'd suggest to someone who wants growth on Etsy but not sure how to grow? Just a quick recap, Etsy is a website. It's like a marketplace where creators can sell their goods to a built-in audience. You're probably familiar with it, even if you don't sell. It's a great place to get handmade items or small business things. I've been selling on Etsy since 2021, and it really wasn't until this year that I feel like I really found a lot of success on it. One of my stickers ended up going somewhat viral, and since then I have been getting daily sales on Etsy. Etsy is just like Instagram or TikTok or Facebook. It's an algorithm, and the better you do, the better you do, which can be really frustrating because you don't even know how to get your stuff to get big, right? So what you have to do is you have to play by their rules. You do everything that they want you to as best as you can. So for example, you have to reply to messages within 24 hours. You have to try to be a star seller, so ship out items fast. Try to use Etsy's tracking. Use as many pictures as possible. Use videos in your listing. Make sure you're using SEO well. Make sure you're doing basically everything that they want you to, using all of their tools to the best of your ability. And the more of these boxes that you check for Etsy, the more they promote you on their platform. And then one sale leads to another, which leads to another, and it's very much a domino effect. But it all starts by playing Etsy's game and following their rules, which can be really annoying because sometimes they want to do things like offer free shipping over $35 plus items. If you can, try to do that. I will have to make the prices on my Etsy page higher than I do in person, but it ends up covering shipping fees like that. So I can offer free shipping for things like that, or for stickers, or for paper. It seems a bit unfair, but I think of it as the same as an event. If I'm gonna pay $100 to sell at this event and that $100 fee is covering my table fee, Etsy is the same, right? You're paying all of these fees out of pocket because they already have an audience who's going to come to you, the same way a convention has an audience that's gonna come to you. I personally find Etsy worthwhile, especially because they do so much for me in terms of bringing me my audience. I don't really advertise, they kind of bring me my customers. And on top of that, they handle taxes, which is amazing. They handle international shipping. I get a ton of international customers pretty frequently. I honestly think Etsy is worth it, but you just have to be willing to play their game. And if you can afford to, I think it's worth it. Just a side note, I don't plan on staying on Etsy forever, but I do think it's a fantastic starter kit. They give you everything that you need to succeed initially. But once I have created enough momentum where I can bring my own customers, I do plan to move to my own website. On to our next category, and these are personal questions. Number one, what's your fast food guilty pleasure? I love fast food. I'm bad, but if I have to pick like the number one, it's gotta be the nacho fries at Taco Bell when they're available. They have a chokehold on me. I don't understand why they're not available year round. Taco Bell, get your act together. Top 5 favorite and least favorite Pokemon. Okay, I freaking adore Pokemon. It's my favorite franchise ever. So my favorites are, in no particular order, Galarian Ponyta, Alolan Ninetales, Sarilege, Popplio, Hatterene, and Dragapult. I know that's 6, but I cannot for the life of me narrow it down to 5, so there you go. As for least favorite, the Legends of Arceus game made me hate Paris. I also hate Geodude and Golem. I think they're ugly. Stunfisk is stupid. And I hate Alolan Dugtrio's hair. So yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a lot more I could think of, but those are the ones that make me the most angry right now. You get $1 million, but you have 24 hours to spend. What are you buying? No banking, no investing. I would buy a really nice house for me and Cody. And then I was thinking I could buy like a bunch of other new things too, but I live in California, so $1 million would probably get me like a nice house, and that's about it. If I have anything left over, I'm gonna use that on my business. Favorite anime or manga? Watching anything current? My favorite animes of all time are Fruits Basket #1, which I'm currently due for a rewatch for like the 20th time. And then I love Bleach. It is like the most inspiring anime or manga to me. I love Tite Kubo. His art is amazing, and he is my biggest source of inspiration when it comes to art. As for manga, I'm currently reading Apothecary Diaries, like for the 3rd time of all the chapters that are available because I really like it. And then I'm currently watching Spy X Family and Bleach 1000 Year War and the new season of Demon Slayer. And I say new roughly because it's been like a year. Zombie apocalypse scenario. Closest item to your right is your weapon. How screwed are you? Well, I'm currently looking at this cup I got from California Adventure from Pim's Test Kitchen. I think if I threw it hard enough, I could distract the zombie, but otherwise I'm pretty screwed. I remember you saying you're the worship leader at your church. How long have you been doing that? For anyone who's not familiar with the church scene, I'm the worship leader, which means that I lead our church in song and I lead the band. So I sing and I play guitar and piano and all that. And I've been doing that for our church since late 2021. And it's been amazing and I really enjoy it. And music is one of my other passions in addition to art. But my art has gotten to the point where it needs a lot more attention, and after a lot of discussion with Cody and a lot of prayer, we've decided that we need to hire someone else for that position, and I'm going to pursue my art. It's been really great, and I'm still going to be a part of the team as a volunteer. It just won't be one of my jobs anymore. If you were isekai'd, do you think you'd survive? This question's funny to me because I know you're probably thinking of some like action anime, but all the isekai I read are like the fluffy romance ones, or it's like the male lead won't leave me alone or something stupid like that. So yes, I do think I'd survive and the male lead would fall in love with me and I'd become queen of everything. So yeah. Can you share a story about how you met Evie? We got her when we used to live in Vegas, and at first she really hated us and she hid from us and she would not play with us and she just stood in the corner the whole time, and the lady was so surprised we wanted to take her home, but she was just too adorable. We took her home. She sat in one spot for hours and she refused to leave, but you know, eventually she had to pee and eat and whatnot, and we did win her over. She is now obsessed with me and I'm pretty sure she has really bad separation anxiety, but that is just owning a Shiba. So last one. How'd you get so cute? Ooh woo. I'm just really good at catfishing. Hey guys, we did it! I want to introduce you to my original character, Shizuka. She is a Ronin-style, wandering samurai kind of character placed in a dystopian Japan. And I really want to explore more of her universe this year, so I hope you like this introduction. This is the first time I've ever drawn her without her mask, but I felt a lot of pressure drawing her, which is why it took me four freaking times to come up with something that I actually liked. And it's really funny. I was so stressed about like the pose because I want to incorporate the mask and the shoulder, but I ended up just doing almost the same exact pose that I first drew her in. The only difference is she's now holding her mask away from her face. So while it ended up being kind of like basic and simple, I think it's a good throwback to her very first pose, except now she's unmasked. And the whole idea is that she's like really fierce looking, but under her mask, she's a soft girl secretly. I don't know if you noticed, but this is for a Draw This in Your Style challenge, which is another reason why I put so much pressure on myself. I wanted to make something worthy of this challenge. If you are not familiar, Draw This in Your Style is a social media challenge where artists will create a piece and they will encourage other artists to actually draw the same piece in their own style. So they could choose a different medium, they can even change up the pose as long as the character is still recognizable. And I'm hosting my first ever Draw This in Your Style challenge because I reached 3,000 followers on Instagram in December. Thank you so much for the platform that I have. I'm almost at 300 subscribers too here on YouTube, so thank you to all almost 300 of you guys. If you are an artist yourself and you want to participate, please do. It would mean the world to me to see her drawn in so many different ways. You can check out my social media. You can either look up at Kelsey Kishi Draws on Instagram, or you can tap the link in the description to take you there. You can find out all the details on how to participate in this challenge. There will be winners. I'm going to pick 3 winners. One grand prize winner is going to win a poster and a sticker pack of my character Shizuka, and then second and third place winners will win Shizuka sticker packs. So if you are an artist, please check out that challenge. Even if you're not an artist, feel free to check out my Instagram. As always, please share your thoughts in the comments below. I love talking to you guys down there. All of my links are available in the description, so if you're curious about shopping with me or my social medias, you can find those there. Thank you again for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye! Oh, guys, don't put oat milk in your matcha latte. It's not it. Oh my gosh, what's this? This video looks great. Maybe you should go watch it. I think you should go watch it. Oh my gosh, what's this? Subscribe. What does that mean? Maybe you should press the button and find out. Ooh, look, there's a like button down there. I think you like this. Go like that.